another episode of the DailyFlip podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and today you're ready. I'm ready. Let's get into Puritan Alex. I know that makes no sense to you, but guess what OpenAI is allowing? They are possibly going to allow more explicit erotica content for adult users. We're going to get into it. It's absolutely insane, in my opinion, but hey, I want to know what your opinions are. Is this the free market at work? Should this be allowed? Should you be able to create your own sort of fantasy depravity? Or maybe it's a little bit of a loaded question. Throw your comments down in the comment section. I want to hear what you have to say. So, for those who are with me a lot, you know that I am a libertarian. I lean away from the government getting involved. It's that simple. And I don't even think that the government should necessarily come in and say, whoa, OpenAI, you're not allowed to do this. By that same metric, you should be able to ban all versions of naughty imagery and things that we don't want our kids watching on the internet. So I think that's heavy-handed. I would love a world in which we don't endorse it, we don't give it money, and it doesn't profligate. That's not the right word. It doesn't propagate, but hey, that's not necessarily realistic. And the most ardent believers, the most Puritans around me in my life would probably argue, whoa, nope, this is amoral. Inherently, government needs to ban it. I would love to say that we as a society, we as a people, we as individuals are strong enough to push back and not give these places money, but OnlyFans makes a crud ton of money. The P-Hub place makes a ton of money, and now X has Annie, overly sexualized robot that jokes around with you, plays with you in flirty ways. You also have Meta, who's been in this part of the article here. This one comes from Axios. Headline reads, Sam Altman says OpenAI will allow erotica for adult users. They even have a quote in here about Meta saying, quote, Meta has come under fire after it is revealed that its chatbots, including some that mimic specific celebrities, are engaging in sexual banter with minors, which, of course, is not okay. And it's not just for minors. I would even say that on a societal level, do you want these chatbots, these different agentic models, these real life simulations in some cases, or at least these avatars is probably a good way to say it. Do you want these avatars that can, in theory, in the future, be customizable, made to anybody's specification? Do you want them to be usable for this sort of behavior, action, and so on and so forth? The question is not only a philosophical one, or at least a principled one, but it is also a practical one, which is in a generation of young men who are lonely, who are divorced of true relationships, who haven't found a woman to hold them over, to curb their worst excesses, to make them understand what love is and to have a healthy relationship, or even not one that's the most healthy in the world, but something that's better than being alone, to understand the beauty of having that balance there, that person that will love you no matter your flaws, that will listen, that will criticize you and push back against you and make you challenge your presumptions and get outside your comfort zone. You could say that the first part applies to these AI bots, the first part of being supportive, kind, loving, that shows you friendship, but that second part's just as important, and that happens in a clash of wills between two people, not between a person and a AI bot who generally does not push back, who is trying to be supportive. And you could say you can make the AI whatever you want, and that's fair. But on the practical matter, do you really want to have this generation particularly susceptible to this sort of over-sexualized, hyper-realized sexuality? I think it's outrageous. So the part that is beyond my Puritan opinions is the factual stuff, and let's get into that. What Sam Altman and OpenAI said, quote, driving the news, Altman said in an X post that OpenAI plans to allow ChatGPT to have more personality and fulfill previously blocked requests. Quote, now that we've been able to mitigate the serious mental health issues and have new tools, we are going to be able to safely relax the restrictions in most cases, Altman said. Quote, as one of our treat adult users like adults principles, we will allow even more, like erotica for verified adults, he added, though that would come around December, end quote. Why is my libertarian self, why is my principled self taking issue with this? Because the principle part of me would say we have to leave it up to individuals to make these decisions. We have to push back on the individual level in order to shape society. You have to shame your friends for using these sort of things. You have to shame yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to ask the question of yourself, which is, do I want to be better? Do I want to succumb to my worst instincts? Am I one of the animals, or am I a rational being? Have I been blessed with something that pulls me towards truth, towards something larger than myself? And does it pull me away from those instincts that are so easily exploitable and make me, I don't want to say nothing, I don't want to say lesser than, because all of those things could lead down paths that say the only important part about human is rational thinking and being able to pull away from your animal instincts. And that's not true. There are beautiful things that come out of our animal instincts, our instincts to protect our children, our instincts to protect those we love. The simple act of looking across and feeling someone's pain, sometimes that is more than conscious. Sometimes that is animalistic in nature, and it's the pairing of the two that really allows us to be, I would say, experience the fullest. But that doesn't mean that one is inherently better than the other, and that most definitely is not a justification for giving in to the animal side. When trying to preserve a society, when trying to build beyond it, when trying to build up men to be strong, to build up women to be caring, kind, and strong as well, why would you want to debase the human form and actively seek out tools that allow you to manipulate it to whatever you may be, instead of understanding what the naturalistic image or the naturalistic possibilities are within this earth? To generate a human form and to use it for what is most likely the end goal of these erotic sort of user tales is to presume that you understand better than nature. I think you could substitute this for God, but it would be to presume that you understand better, you are a better creator, and that the other things are not to your liking, that they are not worthy of your time, that they are not worthy of your energies. And I think you can make an argument that, yeah, somebody can enjoy naughty videos and naughty photos while still appreciating those around them and the people they have in their lives that are, the significant others. I don't think that's unfair. But that doesn't mean that you fully appreciate them. That doesn't mean that you reserve your animal instincts for those people. It means that you give in to the worst of you and do not preserve the best of you, or at least channel the worst of you to be used for the best of you, in my opinion. Now, that may be extremely convoluted, mainly because I'm trying to avoid implying God in there, because I think there's a conversation beyond just God. Though God, of course, is the truth, he provides a path towards human dignity, and subjecting people to be the objects of enticement is not a part of it. Even in a naturalistic sense, I don't think you can make this argument. I think you can make an argument for videos and photos. Even then, it's not as though that exists in a state of nature. Watching does, though. But creating, not only watching a pre-existing, but creating something that is to your perfect specification, that is beyond possible within this world. There feels like there's something depraved and sad, honestly, sad in there. And that's why I said Puritan Alex, because we're going down this route, man. If it's up to me and I had to say, end all be all, government get involved and ban it, or government allow it, it's government allow it. But that doesn't mean that we have to allow it. That doesn't mean that we have to be the enabling mechanism. We can push back just as well as any of them. So, with all that, if you like today's episode, you can find the link to the story in the comment section below that like and subscribe button. Also, on there you can find the podcast on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Podvine, and Apple Podcasts now. I don't have the link yet, but you can find it there. You can go subscribe. You can listen on the go, that sort of thing. And if you want to follow the Twitter handle at your DailyFlip, where I post links to these episodes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as well as the 6 and 6 episodes, 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less on Tuesday and Thursday. It's international news. It's meant to be brief and very informative. So, with all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe. Don't die.